Joining us now live in studio, Marty Williams. He is running against, again, Bobby Scott, 3rd District, which has been changed a little bit, so it's no longer 92% to 8 like the old Politburo elections. This is a real election. And let me tell you a little bit about Marty Williams. He's a retired cop, but beyond that, he was a 20-year homicide detective in Chesapeake. You're probably saying to yourself, Chesapeake, is there any homicides there? Oh, yeah, lots of homicides. And he said he used to take bodies, kill them somewhere else, and then dump them in Chesapeake. And then Marty would have to figure it out and put the perps behind the bars. And he's joining us now live in studio. How you doing, Marty?
Wonderful. Good morning, sir. Great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Anytime. So, Marty, after that intro I gave you, let's get into some offbeat stuff. I just had, a very lengthy policy discussion with Tom Garrett. He's a hellraiser. Well, what do you think? I know you're a football fan. You follow NFL. By the way, my flagship here, WHKT AM 1650, is the voice of the Baltimore Ravens, as is WNTW AM 20. NFL starts in 2 weeks. And both my affiliates here are also the voice of the VMI Keydets. And our first Keydet game, it is Saturday, 6 p.m. So Joe Daniels doing the Keydet games, and Mike, you're doing NFL games. And my first Keydet pregame show is tomorrow, Michael, at 9:40 with Coach Scott Wackenheim of the VMI Keydets. So I know you're fired up about that. Hold your enthusiasm to the end. VMI is going to have a good team this year. They're going to go 6-5. That's what I predict. For them, that's a good season, especially when they only play out of 11 games, 7 road games for my Keydets. So we got a lot going on. Now, Marty, having given me that opportunity to eat 2 minutes up, segue, and get into our football stuff, thanks for that. So Colin Kaepernick, what do you think of this?
If he wants to sit down, he can do that, but he needs to go sit down in the stands. He's not a representative of the NFL as far as I'm concerned. It's deplorable what he's doing. He is insulting all the lives that have been given for that red, white, and blue. And it hurts me to see that someone would use their supposed notoriety and personality to put forth an argument which is, I'm not going to say is invalid. I've worked for that argument, the same argument he's worked for. But I'm certainly not going to disrespect the flag of our country, the flag that my relatives fought and died for. And I've got relatives in the Navy now. They put their lives on the line for this flag, and I think he's just misaligned with what he wants to do, and I think he needs to rethink his policies. And if anything, if he wanted to get notoriety, he got it. I think it's lousy notoriety. I applaud the videos I've seen of the people burning his jersey. I think that's the best thing they can do right now.
I think he's a dirtbag, loser, crybaby, turd, piece of crap that I want nothing to do with ever. And I think the owners of the 49ers should cut him. They still have to pay him. I think they should cut him and then dare some other team to pick him up. I think finally there's accountability here from the owners. And there's accountability from the fans. And yes, I'm glad they're burning his jerseys, and I hope the guy would get booed heartily. But look, this guy makes $19 million annually, and he sits on the bench. He doesn't do crap, and he sucks. I think they should cut him and then dare somebody else to pick him up. Probably the Eagles would.
Well, obviously he's at the end of his career if he ever had one in the first place. And once again, what's he doing? Is he marching with the BLM movement? I have. Where is he?
Nowhere.
Has he come out and said things are awful on his own stage? No, he had to use the stage of American flag. And that's insulting to me. And, he's on the way out. His career is over. I guess he's struggling for the last hurrah. Well, yahoo, hurrah, goodbye.
Okay, Donald Trump today to make a big immigration speech. He's going to address, if he's elected, what his policy would be with those that are here illegally now, what to do with them. He ran his primary, Marty, by saying that he would have a deportation force. Basically, his policy was clear and simple. If you came to the company illegally, you're illegal, and that can't continue on. We're a country of laws. We're going to see what he says tonight, but if you were elected to Congress, what type of a immigration policy would you favor that addressed those 11, 15, 20, 30 million people that are in the country illegally now, Marty?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. 11, 15, 20, 30 million people. How many people are here
No one knows.
illegally?
No one knows.
Illegally. And let's look at the word illegal. That means it's against our laws, the laws that we made, that Congress made, that the states made. Our Constitution guarantees our rights. You know, we've got to take a real hard look at how we're going to treat those who are here illegally and those who are hiding from us. And there are some people who are not hiding, and I compliment them for what they do. And I would like for them to file for citizenship, like them to file for visas, like for them to file for employment status, like for them to stay here and make our country greater than it's always been. And the term illegal, I think we need to re-examine about what illegal means, because they're here illegally, and I'm sorry they had to come here under the veil of darkness, but it's time to come into the light. And I'm willing to work on a good plan that's going to solve our problems and not just talk about it year after year after year after year.
So tell me what that would look like, Marty Williams.
It would look like an avenue for people to come forward and say, yeah, I didn't enter the country properly, but I've been here X number of years, I've got a family, I've got a prosperous job, and I now want to do things the right way. Then we need to set up a system for them to do the things the right way, just like anybody else from a foreign land would apply for a visa to come into the country. Let them apply.
Right.
Come to the office and apply.
Do it the right way.
Do it the right way. Follow the law, because if we stop following the law in this country, I mean, look at Hillary, look what she's done. The law has been pushed aside, and it only applies to certain individuals. We need to have law justly and equitably applied to everyone. That's what our law is based on. When we stop doing that, we become the Politburo.
Exactly. Marty Williams, what do you think of these emails now that are coming out that have to do with the pay-to-play scheme she had going on at the State Department, where basically, as the Associated Press outlined, and now these are continuing to come out, where over 50% of the non-government, non-diplomatic people she met with were major donors to the foundation, and many of these emails say where the meetings got set up through the influence of the foundation, of people that have given them money. I mean, if you were in Congress, would you call for a special prosecutor? What's the deal here?
If I was still in law enforcement, I'd have her arrested. She needs to go to jail. The whole thing needs to be investigated. This is unacceptable. Our Justice Department, they're not doing their job. That's obvious. When you have an FBI director stand up and say he will not indict, first of all, it's not his jurisdiction to indict or not indict. He only reports. He reports. A grand jury needs to make these decisions, not the director of the FBI. This whole thing is rigged. It's going to be rigged even more if she gets in the White House. And let me say this. This stuff about my opponent, Congressman Scott, being appointed to the Senate, that's only if Hillary wins. That's only if I don't beat him, and I'm going to beat him. He's not even going to be a congressman anymore. He's going to be out of the picture. McAuliffe will be looking for no one to put in the Senate, because he's not going to have an opening to fill. Because Tim Kaine will still stay in the Senate. Donald Trump will be in the White House. And that's the way things are going to be. So you're going to see a big change in things right after Labor Day.
All right, so I want to get to the two things that you mentioned. I want to start with Trump. I'm predicting Trump is going to win November 8th. In fact, I don't have any doubt in my mind. I think he's going to win the debates. And you look at the trending polls now, Marty, Trump is coming back, and he's taken all the heat. I mean, he's had a miserable August. The Hillary Clinton for President campaign has spent $300 million in battleground states in negative ads, including Virginia, against Trump's zero. We just started spending now. Trump bashing 24/7 on all media fronts, basically for an entire 3.5 weeks. And now all of the new polls coming out, he's tied. I mean, if you're Robbie Mook sitting in Brooklyn and you just unloaded all your cannon fire, I mean, you just unloaded bazookas, tanks, airplanes, shock and awe. You got all the media behind you, got the whole thing. And Labor Day hasn't hit, and you're tied in some of these polls. You got to be saying, what do I have to do to put this guy away?
First of all, Hillary Clinton is hiding. When's the last news conference she had?
270 days.
Unbelievable. Why aren't the mainstream media, the liberal press, yelling at her saying, we want to ask you some questions? Why? I don't understand it. Look, Donald Trump's on television every single day answering questions, making statements. Hillary Clinton is hiding behind a podium with a teleprompter, reading her script. And, look, Democrats, I admire you for your convictions. Stay home. You don't need to go to her rallies. You can read it online. That's all she's doing. She's reading you a book. Stay home. Save your time. Take care of your kids.
Well, I don't even think she has rallies. She doesn't have anything.
Well, you never see
Yes,
how, you
fundraisers.
never see how big the crowd is. I saw the Washington State, I believe, they filled up a stadium for Mr. Trump, and there's a groundswell here. And first of all, let me say this: the polls, I don't buy it because once again, I'll look back to the presidential primary here in Virginia. The experts predicted 500,000 voters. We had 1,000,001. Where do these people come from? They came out of the woodwork because they're mad, they're angry. I'm mad, I'm angry. And they're not going to answer pollsters, first of all, because they know that pollsters are rigged. I mean, look at Reuters. They no longer even consider the undecided votes. They decide who they want to endorse, and that's what they're going to do. And a poll is only as good as those who pay for it. It's only as good as those who pay for it. So anytime you have a poll, take a look at it. Take it somewhat with a grain of salt, but understand that there are still good people doing those polls. There are good people answering the questions, but there are so many other great people who are sitting on the sidelines saying it's none of your business who I'm voting for because, well, it's first of all, I have friends who have put Trump stickers on their cars, bumper stickers, and the cars have been vandalized. Vandalized. Now, what is this all about? When people get angry and people get scared, people turn to violence, that means that they're at the last end. They're at their wit's end, and they're afraid with what the ramifications are going to be. And a Hillary White House, please, no. Mr. Comperdink, maybe we'll go to Canada together.
Okay, well, that's quite the summation of that. Marty Williams, he's running for Congress. He's a Republican. He's running in the 3rd District. The incumbent there, Bobby Scott, we're trying to put a debate together. Both camps have agreed. Bobby Scott, very excited about it. I got to hand it to him. He says, yeah, I like Marty Williams. I'll debate him anytime, any place. It'll be fun. So
I agree. It will be lots of fun. Looking forward to it.
Bobby's, you know what, disagree or not, he's a really good guy. And one of the things I can do, Marty, I know a lot of people get mad at me. Why am I friends with Kane? Why am I friends with Warner? Why do I, go to McAuliffe's happy hours and have fun? Because I can separate the two out. I mean, I'm going to Bobby Scott's Labor Day picnic with my family on Monday. We've been there. This is going to be our 5th or 6th time there. We always have a good time. And he's a good guy. Just because you don't agree with somebody, you don't have to demonize him. Bobby Scott's a good guy, and he said he'll debate you anytime, any place. So I
totally agree. He is a good man. He's been a great statesman for 23 years. And I agree with what you're saying. We need to work together. But I have to propose this question to you. How many Democrats come to Republican rallies?
Let's see. None.
Thank you very much. And by the way, when you're at Bobby's picnic, tell him hello, give him my regards. Also look up in the air. There may be a plane pulling a big banner over top his picnic area saying Marty.
I will look up. And they invited us to come again. And, of course, myself and the Fräulein and JoJo are going in full Trump regalia.
Enjoy, please.
We're going to have a good time over there. So, look, Marty Williams, running for Congress, you told us about Trump and Clinton. You look at your district, it's changed a little bit, but this is a district that, Bobby Scott's getting 90% in. How do you win?
That's the old district, John, the old district.
How do you win?
With the new district, the configuration is completely different. We've got a more diverse district. It's changed completely. The demographics are almost 50-50. The Democratic to Republican is 54% Democratic. That's 4 points from being even. We also win because people are now going to realize that Congressman Scott is not going to represent all the interests of the district, all the interests. And I'm talking about the fact that, looking at his record, Bobby is a very, very good, staunch supporter of those in custody, for instance. He believes that mandatory minimum sentencing should be taken away. He believes those in prison should be let go. And he doesn't look out for the rights of all the people, including the rights of victims. Who's looking out for their rights? I am, because I wore a badge for over 25 years. I protect the rights of the victims, and I make sure the bad guys stay where they need to stay so they don't victimize anyone else. Now, people are going to look at Bobby's record, and please look at it. Go to thomas.gov. You'll see in his over 23 years, Congressman Scott has sponsored 5 bills that got passed. 5. Here it is, John. You can look. I brought you a copy of it. 5 bills. Now, to me, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable for 23 years, almost $3 million in salary. That's unacceptable. And look, he's not like us. He's not like us. I mean, the man's a millionaire. I'm a hard-working guy who did my career in law enforcement. I still have a mortgage, a car payment, and a dog, and a lovely wife. I'm just like the regular voter out there who's concerned about what's happening to the district, concerned about what's going on. And we're going to bring good jobs back. One of the reasons we have a deficit here in Virginia because the jobs that are here are low-paying. They're low-paying. There's no payroll tax coming out to offset the deficits. And it's a smokescreen put up by the Democrats, and we're going to expose them, and I'm looking forward to going to Washington and make certain I can represent everyone in this district. I don't care where you're from, what your ethnic background is, how much money you make, if you have a job or not. I'm going to represent you all. That's my job as your representative. You'll be able to contact me every meeting I go to. I give up my personal cell phone number as well as my home address. I want you to know where I live. I want you to know how to get a hold of me. Mm-hmm. I want you to know that I'm going to represent you. I'm not a career professional congressman. I have conservative views, and I'm going to make certain that we're going to give everybody a good, clear choice this year, because this is the first time in decades that there's been decisiveness in between the two candidates. Bobby is a liberal. I'm a conservative. There's a lot of distance between us. Now, he's a gentleman, don't get me wrong, and we're going to have a gentlemanly debates as we go on. I'm looking forward to them. But I'm going to protect everyone's rights. Everyone's rights. And this is what we should do. That's what representatives are supposed to do.
$21 trillion in debt by 2018, the CBO says. $26 trillion, CBO says, in debt if we go down the same path we are now in 2026. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network. We never got the pipelines, Marty, but we will get there.
Get to it another time.
And, hey, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, sir. It was my pleasure. MartyWilliamsCongress.com. If you can help, I would certainly appreciate it. RNC is not coming across any funding, John. I'm really surprised at them. They're apparently writing off some important districts. I'm not writing off the 3rd District. I know I can beat Scott. If you want to help, go to MartyWilliamsCongress.com. There's a nice contribute button there. Hit it for me. I can use the money, because we're going to have to unseat Bobby Scott our way, the right way, to make sure we're going to bring representative government back to Washington. Great to see you again, too, sir.